You're listening to the Kirkintilloch Herald, a Q&A review recording service podcast, brought to you by our team of volunteers currently recording from their homes across Scotland. Whether you're listening via the BWBF online players, the telephone app, or our brand new Alexa skill, please phone us on 0141 772 3976 to feedback on what you want us to provide and improve upon. Please also join your family and friends in being our audio ambassadors and share our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram all at Q&A Review. That's at symbol CUEANDREVIEW.
Apprenticeships are in decline. West Scotland List MSP Katie Clark warned young people in Eastern Bartonshire are being let down as the number of modern apprentices in the area has failed to reach pre-pandemic levels. New figures from Skills Development Scotland, SDS, show just 301 modern apprenticeships started in the first quarter of 2021-22, down 22% compared to 2019-20. At the end of the apprenticeship week 2022, Ms Clark called for a fully costed strategy to create new apprenticeship opportunities. Tomorrow, Thursday, she will be asking Education Secretary Shirley Ann Somerville for action to ensure all apprentices are paid the real living wage. Ms Clark said, "Apprenticeships are a vital way for young people to learn new skills and discover new career paths, and I am delighted to back Apprenticeship Week 2022. However, the latest figures make dismal reading at a time when we urgently need a skilled workforce to rebuild our economy and tackle the climate emergency. We need to see a real plan from the Scottish Government with increased investment and a targeted strategy for shortage sectors. It must also commit to only supporting employers who pay the real living wage to all apprentices, regardless of age. SDS guidance states employers must pay at least the national minimum wage. However, this is just £4.30 an hour for apprentices aged under 19 or in the first year of their apprenticeship. The real living wage is £9.90 per hour. Being shortchanged by Brian Newell, reporter. Eastern Bartonshire MP Amy Callaghan claims the UK government is shortchanging Eastern Bartonshire by nearly £5.8 million, which equates to a loss of £123.91 per household. She slammed the Chancellor's smoke and mirrors claim that Scotland would receive an additional £290 million to help with the cost of living crisis. This comes as Scotland's Finance Secretary, Kate Forbes, revealed there are no additional monies for Scotland to help low-income families. In a letter to Holyrood's Finance Committee, Ms Forbes revealed that the Scottish Government will receive £814 million from the Treasury, rather than the expected £852 million promised by the Chancellor. Ms Forbes stated the Scottish Government is now forced to find funds from elsewhere in its budget to support people with costs such as council tax bills. Ms Callaghan said, "It is scandalous that the Chancellor is trying to pull the wool over the eyes of the people of East Bartonshire. The claim that there will be additional cash for people to cope with the cost of living crisis simply does not stand up. Instead, people in Eastern Bartonshire are being shortchanged by almost £5.8 million. That is the equivalent of £123.91 of missed support for every household in Eastern Bartonshire. Rishi Sunak made a huge fanfare about how Westminster was being generous to Scotland, when the truth is they have provided no extra funding. And, once again, the Scottish Government is to make good on another broken Tory promise by finding funding from its limited budget to support hard-pressed families by cutting £150 off their council tax bills. This is real cash to deal with the cost of living crisis, not the UK Government's empty promises that are simply smoke and mirrors. Just the other week it was revealed that the Scottish Government has had to spend £11.8 million each year in Eastern Bartonshire to mitigate UK Government austerity policies like the bedroom tax. Now we have more money coming out of Scotland's budgets in order to deliver on the empty promises of Westminster. And that report was by Brian Newell. Challenges changing. by Liz Gallagher, reporter. Mental health issues are now one of the police's biggest challenges, said Eastern Bartonshire's top cop. Some incidents can take up to 8 hours to deal with, according to Chief Inspector John Mingus. He met recently with the West of Scotland List MSP, Pam Gosel, where they discussed the changing nature of modern policing. A key issue highlighted was how much policing has changed over the years, with there now being a higher emphasis on supporting those dealing with issues such as dementia, depression and other mental health related issues. Chief Inspector Mingus said a multi-agency approach is being used to tackle the issue, with police sometimes being called out to attend incidents in place of ambulances when the health service is too busy. The main priority of police, said the Chief Inspector, is the safety and well-being of vulnerable residents and ensuring individuals get the assistance they require with timely intervention. Chief Inspector Mingus praised the great team of officers serving the area, who utilise a wealth of local knowledge, helping to keep situations under control before they escalate, which he said is key to increasing public confidence and reducing local crime rates. Ms Gosel said, "I'm incredibly grateful to have met with Chief Inspector Mingus alongside other members of the Mulgai Community Policing Team. Their commitment to the local area was clear to see throughout our meeting, and it was of great interest to hear that the changing nature of modern policing. Mental health related incidents are now one of the biggest single challenges facing local police forces. It is vital they are properly supported to deal with these incidents to safeguard the well-being of the vulnerable individuals. I would like to thank Chief Inspector Mingus and the entire community policing team for protecting our neighbourhood on a daily basis and allowing us to continue to live our lives in safety. I look forward to continuing to work with the local police to support the fantastic work they do every single day." And that report was by Liz Gallagher. New Romans exhibition. The Old Kirk Museum is exploring the Roman Empire and its impact and influence on the local area. The Antonine Wall, Beyond Boundaries, is a touring exhibition from historic Scotland, which will run until Saturday, May the 7th. Jim Neal, chair of the Eastern Bartonshire Leisure and Culture Trust, said, "With so many sites of historical significance on our doorstep, Eastern Bartonshire has a strong sense of history. For this family-friendly exhibition, craftspeople were commissioned to create replicas of rare and unusual Roman artefacts found along the Antonine Wall. Each object reveals stories of how individuals and communities can break down boundaries and create a space where they belong. Come and get hands-on with history and learn more about communities on the Wall, then and now. We're also offering primary schools tours of this exhibition. To book, email museums@easternbarton.gov.uk or call 0141 777 3013. Plant a tree for Jubilee. Report by Brian Newell. This year, Her Majesty the Queen will celebrate 70 years of service to the nation, and to celebrate, the Queen's Green Canopy initiative is encouraging people and organisations to plant a tree for the Jubilee. Her Majesty and the Prince of Wales planted the first Jubilee tree in the grounds of Windsor Castle a year ago to mark the launch of the Queen's Green Canopy. As part of the initiative, Provost Gary Hughes has now planted a Tai Haku, Great White Cherry, tree in Woodside Park in Kirkintilloch in honour of Her Majesty. Tai Haku means big white in Japanese, hence its common name of Great White Cherry. The Latin name for the species is Prunus caerulifera. Tai Haku is now extinct in Japan, but has been revived from a single specimen found in a garden in Sussex, England. Provost Hughes said, "The Queen's Green Canopy initiative is a fitting tribute to the Queen, who has championed the protection of trees throughout her reign and planted more than 1,500 trees all over the world. The Great White Cherry tree is a magnificent species which grows to between 5 and 6 metres in height and produces beautiful white flowers in the springtime. With a lifespan of around 30 years, the tree will be a long-standing, sustainable tribute to Her Majesty. So far, over 150 trees have been planted in Scotland, and Provost Hughes hopes more individuals and groups in Eastern Bartonshire will get involved." He continued, "It would be lovely to see so many more trees planted in Eastern Bartonshire as part of the initiative to mark the Platinum Jubilee. The official tree planting season runs out between October and March, but tree planting will commence again in October through to the end of the Jubilee year. Anyone keen to get involved should visit the Queen's Green Canopy website, where there are lots of information on how to take part. As well as inviting the planting of new trees, the Queen's Green Canopy will dedicate the network of 70 ancient woodlands across the United Kingdom and identify 70 ancient trees to celebrate Her Majesty's 70 years of service. For more information, visit queensgreencanopy.org. And that report was by Brian Newell. Playground is made better. Children at St Joseph Primary in Steps now have even more reason to look forward to playtime after an area of the playground was resurfaced, providing more space and opportunities for children to play. Head teacher Brenda McCloskey said, "It's wonderful to see our children enjoying using this extended outdoor space. We have introduced new outdoor activities and have a group of children and staff raising funds and preparing a wide range of experiences which would not have been possible before. Our Parent Council and PTA are also working on plans for our Parent Forum and wider community to work alongside pupils to develop other ways in which the space can be used."
Do not raise national insurance. As warnings about the cost of living crisis continue to grow, Strathkelvin and Bearsden MSP Rona Mackay has issued a fresh call for the UK government not to increase national insurance. This comes after reports the Russian invasion of Ukraine is adding pressure to families as the wholesale price of oil and wholesale gas continues to soar. Ms Mackay said the cost of living crisis is hitting families hard right now, and if reports are right and the UK government refuses to take any proper action to tackle the issue, then it's only going to get worse. Not only is the UK government not providing any measures to support households, but they are breaking their own promises not to increase the rate of national insurance contributions, bravely letting down people who deserve better. Eastern Bartonshire gets A for effort. New research has revealed Eastern Bartonshire is one of the best areas in Scotland for academic performance. International education providers Oxford Summer School analysed exam results data from the Scottish Qualifications Authority for every local authority to rank performances at National 5 and Scottish higher level. Eastern Bartonshire is the second highest achieving area, with an overall average of 55.6% of students achieving an A grade in these exams. This was made up of National 5 A grade, 57.8%, Scottish higher A grade, 56.3%, and Scottish Advanced Higher A grade, 52.7%. East Renfrewshire took top spot with an overall average of 58.2%, while Clackmannanshire was bottom with 37.1% against the national average of 45.8%. Listing of St Rollox by Brian Newell, reporter. The St Rollox Locomotive Works in Springburn could soon be recognised with listed status. Historic Environment Scotland, HES, has announced it is seeking views from the public on proposals to list the former railway work site in Category B due to its special historic and architectural interest. St Rollox Works is significant as a rare surviving example of a later 19th century locomotive works in Scotland, and as the only surviving example in Springburn, which was once a global centre of locomotive construction. Built in 1854 to 56 and enlarged in 1884 to 86, St Rollox Works was the largest and longest operational locomotive manufacture and repair works in Scotland. It played a significant role in the expansion of the railway on the landscape of Scotland and was a major employer in Glasgow. The works closed in 2019. Today the building retains many features which demonstrate its previous function, including its interconnected workshop design of high-quality ironwork and an intact overhead travelling crane system. Dara Parsons, head of designations at HES, said, "The former St Rollox Works is a significant piece of Scotland's industrial and transport heritage, contributing to our understanding of Scotland's railway history, and in particular Springburn's role as a major centre for rail manufacture and repair in the 19th and 20th centuries. After assessing the site for listing, we are proposing to add it to Scotland's list of buildings of special architectural and historical interest. Listing is a way of recognising and celebrating what makes our built heritage special, and ensuring this is taken into account in future decisions. We're keen that people have an opportunity to have their say as part of this process, so we encourage anyone with an interest in the building to take part in our consultation. The consultation will run until March 28th at https://haveyoursay.historicenvironment.scot/heritage/St Rollox. HES lists buildings of special architectural or historic interest that help to create Scotland's distinctive character, and through which we can discover more about the stories of our past. By Brian Yule. Second booster for most at risk. NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde is gearing up to invite those at the highest risk of getting seriously ill from COVID-19 for their second booster vaccination. In coming weeks, residents in care homes for older adults will be vaccinated, while adults aged 75 and over and individuals aged 12 and over will receive blue envelopes with appointment details. These people will be invited as they become eligible from at least 24 weeks after their last booster, with the first groups receiving appointments from as early as this week. This follows recent advice from the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation. There is no need to proactively contact the helpline as letters will arrive by post. People should note that they have to wait until at least 4 weeks following a positive COVID-19 test before receiving their second booster. Dr. Amelia Crichton, Interim Director for Public Health at NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, said, "We know these high priority groups are at greater risk of serious illness from COVID-19, and following further advice from the JCVI, we are now offering a second booster dose of the vaccine to these people. Vaccination has been our most effective tool against coronavirus, and getting fully vaccinated is the best way to protect yourself, especially if you are at greater risk from the virus. I continue to encourage everyone to receive the doses they are eligible for as and when they are called forward." £132,000 cash boost. By Brian Yule, reporter. An Eastern Bartonshire charity which supports people facing challenging times has received £132,380 from the National Lottery Community Fund. The funding means the Group Recovery Aftercare Community Enterprise, also known as GRACE, can continue their work with people who are affected by a lack of employment, depression, health issues and addiction. Over the next 3 years, GRACE will run a range of activities including art therapy, filmmaking and sports, as well as peer support sessions. Robert Smith, founder, said, "Our first funding was a National Lottery Awards for All grant about 8 years ago, and this was a real catalyst and confidence builder for us. This latest funding gives us the opportunity to improve people's lives in a safe environment within their own community, where they feel comfortable and where they belong. We can now keep these services local and our communities can get the level of support they need and deserve. Our model works and people are given the opportunity to grow at the pace that suits them, all by being active in their own recovery." Across the country, 319 community projects have shared in over 13 million from the latest round of funding. The National Lottery Community Fund Scotland Chair Kate Still said, "Projects like GRACE are a great example of what can be achieved when people come together for a common cause or to help others." Article by Brian Yule.
Apprenticeships sing praises of working at council. Report by Brian Yule. Almost 100 young people have started their careers with Eastern Bartonshire Council through its award-winning modern apprenticeship programme over recent years. To mark Scottish Apprenticeship Week 2022, from March the 7th to 11th, 2 apprentices at different stages of their journey have been speaking out about their experiences with the council and how they feel their careers are developing. Callum McLaughlin started his apprenticeship in plumbing and heating in August 2019 when he left Beardstone Academy. At school, he completed a vocational training programme in building services engineering and is now attending Glasgow Kelvin College. Callum said, "I've never looked back since starting my apprenticeship. The work has varied and I'm going to college to complete my qualifications and learning on the job at the same time. Whilst I was at school, I did a vocational training programme in building services engineering, and I decided then that I wanted to become a plumber. I knew I couldn't sit in an office, that's not for me. I would recommend an apprenticeship to anyone who is about to leave school, who is interested in a career in plumbing or building services engineering. I'm working with a great team, gaining valuable work experience, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Ashley is just over 6 months into her business admin apprenticeship, starting with the council during the pandemic and largely working from home. In S5 at Kirkintilloch High, she did the foundation apprenticeship. Ashley said, "I was considering studying business at university when the foundation apprenticeship came along. That convinced me that I wanted real world experience while gaining qualifications. I've just started an SVQ in business admin at New College, Lanarkshire, and I'm part of the council's election team, getting ready for the local government elections in May. Joining the team while working from home was daunting, but everyone has been lovely and really supportive. The work is interesting and I'm learning so much that I don't think I'd have learned at university. As an apprentice, I'm earning, learning and in further education, a mix of everything you could want all in one. Its modern apprenticeship programme has long been a priority for the council, and as soon as it was feasible it was restarted, missing only one intake because of the pandemic. Joint Council Leader Councillor Andrew Paulson said, "Our workforce is strengthened by the enthusiasm, hard work and talent of our apprentices, many of whom stay with us and gain promotion in their field. This is a win-win situation, and it is great to hear stories of how much they are benefiting from the support of their teams. Apprenticeships are increasingly being seen as a preferred positive destination for school leavers, and I am proud that the council is playing an active role in that. Employers interested in finding out more about starting a modern apprenticeship programme can visit www.apprenticeships.scot/for-employers/introduction to Scottish apprenticeships." Challenge to save food and our planet. Report by Julie Curry. Scotland as a whole wastes 988,000 tonnes of food and drink every year. But just 24% of food and drink businesses in Scotland think food waste is a significant contributor to climate change. In response, Zero Waste Scotland has launched a nationwide challenge to crown Scotland's culinary champion of food waste, a single professional or business whose recipe can turn what could have gone to waste into delectable treasure. The search for Scotland's best wasteless scran will see cooks across Scotland enter their best recipes that primarily feature ingredients commonly wasted in kitchens, from chefs in top restaurants to hospitals, schools and community groups. A winner will be selected from a list of entrants who have met the criteria of simplicity, taste, time, ingredient use and ingenuity. BBC MasterChef champion and Scotland's national chief chef, Gary McLean, will be lending his culinary expertise as part of the judging panel. The competition's top chef will win a bespoke prize package. To compete, entrants should visit the dedicated competition page on the Zero Waste Scotland website, which can then be sent to food.drink@zerowastescotland.org.uk. The deadline is September the 1st. Ian Gulland, Zero Waste Scotland Chief Executive, said, "Food waste has a devastating impact on the environment. We're calling on expert chefs to show off their planet-saving recipes and showcase their commitment to tackling the climate change emergency." Gary McLean, Scotland's national chef, added, "Fully understanding where your food comes from and the energy and resources it takes to get onto the plate is crucial. So there's every reason to make sure none of it is wasted." The Scottish Government's food waste campaign has also recently been relaunched, encouraging people to save food, save money and save the earth. Circular Economy Minister Lorna Slater said, "We can all do more to recycle food waste and help Scotland on its journey to net zero." A guide, 22 Food Saving Wins, has been launched to inspire people to take action at netzeronation.org. And that report was by Julie Curry. Councils can run local bus services. The Scottish Government plans to commence powers in the Transport Scotland Act for local authorities to run their own bus services by July this year. Secondary legislation to enable bus franchising and partnerships will also be introduced before the end of 2023. The Transport Scotland Act 2019 was designed to help make Scotland's transport network cleaner, smarter and more accessible by empowering local authorities and establishing consistent standards to tackle current and future challenges. Work to implement the ambitious new bus legislation was paused as a consequence of COVID-19. It recommenced in early 2021 with consultants to inform the development of the necessary secondary legislation. The consultation results and analysis have now also been published by Transport Scotland. Minister for Transport Jenny Gilruth said, "Local authorities asked for greater powers to run their own bus services, and I'm pleased the Scottish Government will now deliver this. The provisions empower local authorities with tools they need to respond to their own transport challenges. Not every local authority will want to run their own bus services. Some may opt for a partnership or franchise approach. What is key is that local authorities will soon have greater tools at their disposal. There are shared challenges we need to address collectively to put buses at the heart of our green recovery. This is why the Scottish Government is investing over £500 million in long-term funding for bus priority infrastructure." Don't share your personal details. HM Revenue and Customs, HMRC, is warning customers not to share sensitive personal information online to avoid their identities being used to commit tax frauds. Criminals are attempting to obtain customers' government gateway logins and other personal details, enabling them to register for income tax self-assessment and submit bogus tax refund claims. Individuals, from teenagers to pensioners, are being targeted on social media by fraudsters seeking to borrow their identities. In return, the individual is promised a cut of the tax refund, risk-free. Handing over information risks individuals involving themselves in tax fraud and having to pay back the full value of the fraudulent claim. Customers should only deal with HMRC directly. Simon Cubitt, HMRC's head of cybercrime, said, "If something looks too good to be true, then it almost certainly is." Flagship development complete at TG House. Report by Brian Ewell. The final tenants have now received the keys to their new homes in the flagship new development on the site of the former council HQ in Kirkintilloch. As well as transforming a former brownfield site, which was once home to Tom Johnson House, the development is a major investment in much needed affordable housing. Designed by Mast Architects and G3 Consulting Engineers, the new development provides a mixture of 1, 2 and 3 bedroom flats and houses which were constructed by CCG Scotland. A total of 82 new Eastern Bartonshire Council properties, including 8 amenity and 8 wheelchair accessible homes, now provide quality housing in a prime site in the heart of the community and with views across Woodhead Park. The development also includes 5 shared equity homes for sale. Tenants began to move in at the end of October, and now all the socially rented homes are fully occupied, while the shared equity properties are in the process of being sold. The build was completed in partnership with Hub West Scotland, with whom the council has previously partnered on projects including Holy Trinity Primary and Kirkintilloch Town Hall. Joint Council Leader Vaughan Moody said, "It has been wonderful to watch this smart new development appear over the last 2 years. Visually, it enhances the area and marks a significant step forward in addressing the continuing need for more affordable housing in the area. It is a really great location with a leisure centre, park, supermarket and bus and train routes all right on the doorstep. I wish the new tenants and homeowners all the very best in their homes." In October 2018, the council engaged Hub West Scotland to produce design services and a building contractor for the proposed project, and building got underway in August 2020. Ian Marley, CEO of Hub West Scotland, said, "We are very proud to have completed this important high-quality development in partnership with Eastern Bartonshire Council. It has transformed a brownfield site and created a mix of attractive, spacious and well-insulated new homes for the community." Get moving with kilted coaches. Report by Julie Curry. Age Scotland is launching a fundraising campaign to get people moving in April with a 30-day activity challenge to provide vital support for older people. Scots are being encouraged to take part in the Spring Into Action challenge by celebrity lifestyle and fitness duo, the Kilted Coaches, who have recorded a video with ideas to get people started. Coaches Stephen and Rab said, We are supporting Age Scotland's Spring into Action to get fitter and more active, while at the same time supporting a really good cause for looking out for vulnerable older people. So get walking, running, jogging, skipping, hiking, whatever you want. But the key thing is you have to do it every day in April. Fundraisers can enjoy the twin benefits of looking after their own health and well-being, as well as older people across Scotland. All the money raised will support Age Scotland's vital services, including the National Friendship Line, which offers support, connection, reassurance and a friendly listening ear for older people who feel isolated or lonely. Recent research found that hundreds of thousands of older people in Scotland feel lonely all or most of the time. 2 years on from the start of the COVID pandemic, Age Scotland's Friendship Line, along with the helpline which provides information and advice, continues to receive a high volume of calls from older people in desperate need of support. Michelle Supple, Age Scotland's Director of Charity Services, said, "We hope to see as many people as possible taking part in our challenge to spring into action. The money you raise will fund vital services like our Friendship Line. Every week we receive hundreds of calls from older people looking for support. Many are lonely and isolated and just want to hear a friendly voice. We listen, provide comfort and friendship, and let older people know that someone cares. No one should feel like they have no one to turn to. To help us be there for every older person who needs us, sign up to the challenge today." Find out and sign up to Age of Scotland's Spring into Action Challenge at www.age.scot/springintoaction. And that report was by Julie Curry. Keeping memories of loved ones alive. After someone we love has passed away, most of us try to find a way of keeping their memory alive. This can vary from planting a tree to naming a star. Here are a few of the options you may want to consider. In the stars. For some, naming a star after the loved one they have lost seems a fitting memorial. There are many star naming websites for you to choose from on the internet. Most of the specialist websites give you a choice of naming a single star or a star in a constellation. Once you have named your star, you will usually receive a certificate, star chart, and coordinates to help you find it in the night sky. Bereavement box. Creating a memorial keepsake box is a comforting option for many. This box can be filled with special memories you shared with your loved one, perhaps photographs, a favourite piece of jewellery, cards and letters. Memorial boxes are widely available to buy, and many specialist websites also have the option to personalise the box with a name or special verse if you'd like. Open the box whenever you wish and pass it down to your children so that the memories can live on. Rings and things. An item of jewellery can make fitting keepsakes, as most pieces can be worn at all times, and many people say this helps them feel closer to the one they have lost. Maybe you'll choose a piece of jewellery from their own collection, or a personalised piece engraved with their name. Saying thank you. If your loved one was helped or supported by a charity or hospice before they passed away, making a financial donation can help you feel like you're saying thank you and giving something back. This could be a one-off donation, or many offer the option to donate a small monthly amount straight from your bank account. Quiet reflection. Many people who are going through a bereavement say they can want somewhere they can sit and reflect about the one they've lost and relive some of the memories they made together without being disturbed. Buying a bench for your garden can be a comforting solution. Memorial benches come in a variety of price ranges, sizes and materials. The tree of life. Why don't you plant a tree, shrub or bush in memory of your loved one and watch the memories grow? Evergreen varieties are a good option. Some people find it helpful to perform a short ceremony or say a few words about their special someone while planting. Perhaps invite family and friends to attend too. More than BEAR necessities for SSPCA. The Scottish SPCA has been selected as BEAR Scotland's national charity partner for 2022 after securing a third of the votes in an employee poll. As well as taking part in fundraising events, BEAR will have collection boxes for donations of crucial items within its depots and offices for distribution at Scottish SPCA centres across the country, including food, bedding and toys. As a charity that receives no government funding and relies solely on donations, the SSPCA couldn't be more grateful for the support. Over the past 2 years, the Society has been incredibly high demand placed on its services, with many rescue centres close to or at capacity at times. Since the start of 2020, SSPCA animal rescue officers and inspectors have responded to over 150,000 reports of animals in need, the equivalent of almost 220 animals helped every single day. SSPCA Head of Fundraising Natasha McKinnon said, "We are delighted to have been chosen as BEAR Scotland's charity partner. It's wonderful to be partnering with a business where the team are clearly animal lovers and share our values. The fundraising events BEAR Scotland is planning will allow us to continue carrying out our life-saving work, rescuing and rehabilitating domestic, farm and wild animals across Scotland. The donation collection points will also be invaluable. With animals and people facing extraordinary pressures, the support of businesses like BEAR Scotland has never been so important." Formed in 2000, BEAR Scotland is an alliance of Eurova UK, Jacobs and Breedon, which provides trunk road networks management and maintenance solutions.
Cards let them know you are, quote, thinking of ye, end quote. An article written by Brian Yule. Louise Major from the Hillhead area of Kirkintilloch has designed a range of original and empathetic, quote, thinking of ye, end quote, greeting cards. They're designed to help recipients feel less isolated and may even bring a smile thanks to their unique style and broad Glaswegian wording. The cards have launched on Louise's majorly crafty social media pages in time for Mothering Sunday, with £1.50 for each card being donated to grief counselling charity Curse Bereavement Care Scotland. Mother's Day can be a tough time for those missing their mums and who have suffered the loss of a child, and it can sometimes be hard to find the right words to say. So Louise decided to put her love of poetry and her design skills to use and create cards to help people to reach out to others. The idea developed into a, quote, thinking of ye range that extends to other occasions and would also help raise funds for the bereavement charity. Louise said, quote, sometimes the worry is if we bring it up, it might lead to upsetting or challenging emotions. The reality is these people are processing and thinking about their loss every day. Supporting them or reaching out to say that you're thinking of them isn't going to mean adding to their pain, but it can mean breaking down the isolation they might feel and showing them you're there if they want to chat. I love designing both thoughtful cards and the others with a bit more of a Glaswegian slang put to them. This range of cards is really special, not just because it could make a difference to the recipients, but also it's going to make a difference to those who really benefit from the vital service that Cruise Scotland provides. Quote, I've had people get in touch saying they love the designs, and have had a lot of requests for custom poems and cards, which is an honour to do. End quote. Scott Maxwell of Cruise Bereavement Care Scotland said, quote, 1 in 5 people struggling to cope with their grief following the death of a loved one and need additional professional support. It's thanks to people like Louise that we can offer hope when the future seems empty. End quote. Louise's cards are available at www.facebook.com/majorlycrafty. That's MAJORLYCRAFTY. And for information about the charity, visit www.cruisescotland.org.uk. That's CRUSESCOTLAND. Charity marks 2 milestones. An article by Julie Curry. It is 30 years since Children's Hospice across Scotland, better known as CHAS, began helping families whose children have life-limiting conditions. In the years since, it has helped hundreds of families across Scotland make the most of the time they have with their children. The first hospice, Rachel House, opened in May 1996, and 9 years later, thanks to public donations and support from the likes of Ewan McGregor and Charlene Spiteri, Robin House in Balloch opened its doors in August 2005. Like many other charities left reeling after the COVID-19 pandemic, in the last 2 years, Chaz had to dramatically transform the way in which it provides service. It set up Scotland's first ever virtual hospice to support children and families who were having to completely self-isolate. The virtual hospice has now been operational for almost 2 years, offering families expertise advice by video and phone. Chaz family support teams also offer an expanding range of interactive activities, art clubs, storytelling, and conference calls to children and parents, with more in the pipeline. Now the charity is taking stock of its 30 years, with a little help from one of the first families to use Rachel House all those years ago. James Miller was born a happy and healthy little boy, but aged 5, his mum, Moira, found him unresponsive after having a fit. James had a degenerative brain disorder, and it was clear that life wasn't going to be the same again. As a charity, Chaz was still in its infancy at the time, but Rachel House was nearing completion. Moira from St Andrews said, Chaz came into her life the Christmas before Rachel House opened. Quote, "We went for a visit with the scaffolding still up around it. There was no beds or grass, but the soft play area was finished, and we could tell it was going to be a special place. When Rachel House opened in May 1996, the Miller family, including Dad Willie and brother Andrew, were one of the first families to use the facility. Moira said, quote, "The care from Chaz was second to none. We all went on to stay at Rachel House many times. Chaz became a place to meet other families who were going through the same thing." End quote. James died early one morning in July 1998, aged 9. Chaz gave the family precious time together. Now Moira takes part in Rachel House's annual Remembrance Day, a service where every child's name is acknowledged. She added, quote, "Even now, I need help from Chaz when the tough days come. Chaz has taught me how to hold on to James. I do this by keeping him in my heart. He goes where I go." End quote. Chaz celebrated another milestone this week, reaching the £1 million fundraising milestone with Kilt Walk. Staff marked the occasion by hosting a celebration in the garden at Robin House, Children's Hospice Garden, where they were joined by Kilt Walk representatives. Claire and Paul Moyer from Erskine also attended. They have been doing the Kilt Walk every year for the last 11 years in memory of their son Aidan, who sadly died in 2012, aged just 10. Aidan suffered from late infant Battine's disease, a degenerative neurological condition which slowly robbed him of the ability to walk, talk, see, eat, and even hold himself up. Aidan touched the hearts of many, and to date, Team Aidan has raised more than £25,000 for Robin House, where he received vital care from the age of 5. Mum Claire said, quote, "We're proud to have been invited along to join the special celebration of Chaz raising £1 million through its Kilt Walk. It's an event which means so much to us all, as a family, as each year we're proud to put our team Aidan t-shirts and walk in his memory. Robin House and Chaz have been there for us every step of the way, and helped us to make so many amazing memories." End quote. Dad Paul added, quote, "The t-shirts we wear have Aidan's face on them, so he really is with us every step of the way, and we always see his cheeky wee smile. If any of us are struggling to carry on the walk, we just look at his face and think Aidan went through so much in his short life, so we can do this for him." End quote. This year's Glasgow Kilt Walk takes place on Sunday, April 24th, and will see all money raised topped by 50% thanks to generosity of the Scottish philanthropist Sir Tom Hunter. Fiona Leslie, Chas Senior Community and Challenge Events fundraiser, said, quote, "We are thrilled to have reached this incredible fundraising milestone in the same year that Chas celebrates its 30th anniversary. The Kilt Walk helps so many causes all over Scotland, and we are proud to continue to work in partnership with this fantastic charity. We are grateful to Claire, Paul and all Team Aiden for helping us to raise an incredible amount over the years in Aiden's memory." End quote. For more details on how to join Team Chas at the Glasgow Kilt Walk, visit www.chas.org.uk/events/Glasgow-Kilt Walk. Man behind bars after £736,000 gift card scam. A businessman who carried out a huge £736,000 Boots gift card scam in just 2 months is behind bars. Robert Bell, 37, was able to get the cards for free by filling out an order form and asked them to be loaded with credit without the intention of paying the cash back. Jurors heard how postmen recalled a string of special deliveries to Bell's apparent cash and carry firm, run from a large hut at the business park in Bishopbriggs. Bell was finally snared when he tried to get his hands on another £150,000 of gift cards. He is now behind bars after being convicted of being involved in a fraudulent scheme against Boots between September and November 2017. Glasgow Sheriff Court heard Bell was behind a wholesaler called Bells of Bishopbriggs. In her closing speech, prosecutor Hannah Terence told jurors, quote, "Bell had no intention of paying any of this credit. He exploited a loophole and made false pretenses as part of a fraudulent scam." End quote. Bell spent over £500,000 of the gift cards across 30,000 transactions. The trial heard Bell, now of Toll Cross, was eventually, quote, "stopped in his tracks," end quote, on November 27, 2017, following a bid to get another £150,000 of gift cards. The huge sum has never been paid back to Boots. It is not known either what the money went to. Bell told police he had applied for the cards in order to give them as gifts to staff and as a, quote, "customer incentive." He claimed to have 40 employees, but the postman who made the deliveries said he only ever witnessed one person working there. Boots initially contacted Bells when the fraud was uncovered, but he never replied. The company was able to cancel the rest of the cards due to their unique serial numbers. David Adams, defending, told jurors that Bell was unaware about the system error at Boots. He added, quote, "This was not a crime. Boots allowed him to do this due to an error on their part. His business had cash flow problems. His customers were not paying him and he could not pay the suppliers, one of which was Boots." End quote. Sheriff Paul Reid reprimanded Bell in custody as sentencing was deferred for reports. Need to rethink on telegraph poles. An article written by Brian Yule. Councillor Paul Ferretti and Stuart MacDonald MP are calling on Openreach to rethink its method of rollout of new internet infrastructure in Lennoxtown and Milton of Campsie. This follows concerns voiced by constituents and local organisations in the villages about the seating of telegraph poles in inappropriate locations and where undergrounding could have been used. The pair have learned that Openreach apparently failed to serve proper notice on East Dunbartonshire Council, meaning the council had no chance to comment on the sitting of the poles. For that reason, they have made representations to Openreach to reconsider the seating of poles that have been drawn to their attention and look again at undergrounding. Bishopbriggs North and Campsie councillor Paul Ferretti said, quote, "I have learned that Openreach have made a crucial communication error when attempting to notify the council of their plans to put up new poles. This means that an important part of the scrutiny process was missed. Openreach's goals are, of course, to be welcomed, and it is important that both Lennoxtown and Milton of Campsie have access to higher quality and fast broadband service. However, it is important now for Openreach to work with the Council to reconsider undergrounding some parts of the network, particularly in areas where local concerns have been raised." End quote. Cumbernauld Kilsyth and Kirkintilloch East MP Stuart MacDonald MP said, quote, "I know many residents are unhappy with the seating of some of the telegraph poles in the villages. Given the mistake that was made in not notifying the council of where these would be seated, it is imperative now that Openreach now engage with the council and with local people and address these concerns." End quote. Openreach spokesperson said, quote, "To support the local rollout of ultrafast broadband, which has now reached almost 3,000 homes and businesses, we submitted permitted rights notifications in good faith. It's become apparent those requests were not received, due to an administrative error. As soon as we became aware of this, action was taken. We're working closely with the East Bartonshire Council to ensure the correct permissions are retrospectively put in place, and to resolve any concerns or issues around the seating of individual poles as quickly as possible, so we can continue to meet local demand for broadband." Recent research by Centre for Economics and Business Research estimating connecting everyone in Scotland to full fibre would create a £2 billion boost to the economy.
From the Kirkintilloch Herald, Wednesday the 16th of March 2022, from the District News section, Church News. Home Church, Scotland, Lammermuir Road, Kirkintilloch, G66 2AB. The Lord himself will lead you and be with you. He will not fail you or abandon you, so do not lose courage or be afraid. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Home Church welcomes you to any of our Sunday services and midweek activities as follows: 9:30 AM, Communion; 10 AM, Prayer Time; 10:30 AM, Fellowship, tea and coffee available; 11 AM, Worship Service in Children's Church, followed by tea and coffee. The main service at 11 AM is online and in person. One church, Home Church, 4 locations, soon to be 5. Kirkintilloch, North Coast, Northern Ireland, Stornoway and online. A church for all ages. A new location is opening in Glasgow on Sunday, April the 3rd. Various study groups for all ages are on Wednesdays in the church at 6:30 PM for families with children, and also at 7:30 PM for everyone else. Also, Zoom meetings for those who live at a distance. Sing for Ukraine concert is on March the 26th at Home Church. See Facebook and Instagram for up-to-date information. Kirkintilloch Church of God. The usual Sunday Good News service at Regent Hall, Regent Street, remains cancelled for the time being. We are still continuing our Zoom services on Sunday evenings at 6:30 PM. The speaker this Sunday will be Michael Johnson. A warm invitation to everyone who is able to go on Zoom. Access details for the streaming can be found by emailing hello@regenthall.org. Come to Coffee Corner on Wednesday from noon to 2 PM for home baking and coffee. COVID safe measures are in place. For up-to-date and further information, visit our website on www.regenthall.org. Jesus said, "You must be born again." John chapter 3 verse 7. St Columba's Church. Do join us for our Sunday morning service at 10:30 AM each week, where we consider to study the Gospel of Luke together. We also have a children and young people's ministry running alongside the service on a Sunday morning, and visitors' children are always welcome. You're also most welcome to our midweek service at 10 AM on a Wednesday, as we look together at the Book of Acts. We'd be really glad to meet you and join you for tea or coffee or juice after either of these services, if you're able to stay for that. If you can't come to a service in person, you can still connect with us by live stream via our website on www.kirkintillochstcolumbus.org.uk or by searching for St Columba's Kirkintilloch on YouTube. We also have a full programme of events during the week, including Little Fishes, our community carer and toddler group, and the first Kirkintilloch Boys Brigade. Please see the church website for more details. Reverend Philip Wright, Oldale Road, Kirkintilloch, G66 3HQ. P. Wright at churchofscotland.org.uk. Mobile number 07427 623 393. St David's Memorial Park Church. At St David's Memorial Park Church, our morning service on Sunday, March the 20th, will be at our usual time of 10:30 AM and will be led by our Church of Scotland reader, John Nicholson. During our morning worship, school-aged children will have the opportunity to go through to our halls for their own time of fun and learning with JAM. All are welcome to attend our service. We would ask that you continue to wear a face mask during the service unless exempt from doing so. We look forward to welcoming you to the church. St James Church, Hilton Road, Bishopbriggs. Rector Reverend Canon Paul Watson on 0141 230 4080. On Saturday, March the 19th, dads and toddlers will be taking part in the church hall from 10:45 AM. All dads and toddlers are very welcome to come along with the bacon rolls for the kids. On Sunday, March the 20th, there will be a Sunday club at 10:30 AM. The church is now open for socially distanced services, face masks essential. This Thursday at 11 AM and on Sunday at 9 AM and at 10:30 AM. Everyone is welcome to come along to any of these services. Do stay on for tea or coffee and fellowship afterwards, while regulations permit. The Meditation Labyrinth is still available in the car park for a mindful walk around. There are also other virtual services and groups. For up-to-date and further information, refer to our social media, Facebook, St James the Less Bishopbriggs, website www.stjamesbishopbriggs.org.uk. Colston Well Park Church. A warm welcome to our morning service this Sunday at 11 AM, led by Reverend Leslie Grieve. Tea and coffee will be served at the hall after the service. The Colston Art Club continues every Monday from 10 AM to 1 PM and is open to all who enjoy any form of art and good company. The food bank remains open every Monday and Friday from 2 PM to 4 PM, and a special thanks to all who contribute to this very worthwhile cause. The Bible study is today, Wednesday, March 16th at 7:30 PM in the church hall. All church organisations and groups are working hard to return to normal activities as soon as possible. Catch our church services on Facebook at Colston Well Park Parish Church. For further information on our church activities, etc., contact Leslie Grieve on 07813 255 052. Lenzie Union Parish Church. Sunday worship on Sunday, March the 20th, will be led by Mr George Kelly at 11 AM in the church. Young people are also welcome to Lighthouse and Bible class. A live stream of the service is available on YouTube via our website. Tea and coffee may be served in the hall after the Sunday service. Sunday chat is at 12:30 PM on Zoom. The Meeting Place Coffee Shop is open on Wednesdays 10 AM till 11:30 AM in the new hall. Meet your friends and enjoy a chat over a cup of tea or coffee. Everyone, from the very young to the young at heart, is welcome to join us, where we also have a good selection of greetings cards and second-hand books for sale. Youth Cafe is open for young people in S1 to S6 every Thursday from 3:45 to 5 PM. Games, chats, snacks and activities. The Coffee Pot is open on Fridays at 10 AM until 11:30 AM in the new hall for teas, coffee and chat. The Guild are holding their closing meeting on Monday, March the 21st at 2 PM in the new hall, when Reverend Barbara O'Donnell's talk will be Laughter is the Best Medicine, followed by afternoon tea. At all events, face coverings are required unless exempt, and test and protect details collected. Kenmure Parish Church. A warm welcome is extended to Reverend John Campbell to lead us in the third Sunday in Lent service at 11 a.m. The service will be live streamed on YouTube and can be found by searching for Kenmure Bishopbriggs. Details of all our groups may be found on the website kenmure-church.co.uk. Find us on Facebook, just search for Kenmure Parish Church. If you would like to join our WhatsApp group or receive the Bible studies from ABC, then email us at kenmurechurch@icloud.com. And that was this week's District News Church Notices. From the Kirkintilloch Herald, Wednesday the 16th of March 2022, from the District News section. Citizens Advice Meeting. Eastern Bartonshire Citizens Advice Bureau give notice of their virtual annual general and public meeting to be held on Wednesday, March the 30th at 2 p.m. Please contact us on 0141 775 3220 or by email bureau@easternbartonshire. Please contact us on 0141 775 3220 or by email bureau@easternbartonshire@casonline.org.uk to receive the Zoom meeting link. Nominations to the Trustee Board from interested parties welcomed. Scottish Registered Charity SC0 23348. Can you help Blue Jack? Blue Jack has been cared for by the Scottish SPSA Edinburgh and Lothians Animal Rescue and Rehoming Centre. He is a loving, friendly boy. He gets on well with his human friends, but he is not fond of other dogs. Blue Jack knows some basic training commands, but can become overexcited and boisterous. He would like an owner with the knowledge and time to commit to furthering his training. Blue Jack would love to have a fully enclosed garden. His bouncy and sometimes boisterous nature would suit an adult-only home where he can be the centre of attention. If you can help, please apply via the Scottish SPSA website www.scottishspsa.org. Antiquities Society. Kirkintilloch and District Society of Antiquities has held its first live meeting for 2 years. More than 50 people were in attendance in the Park Centre for a joint meeting with Kirkintilloch Soroptimists on the subject of an appreciation of Beatrice Clugson. The speakers were Jenny Bergen from the Soroptimists and Don Martin from the Antiquities, who gave well-illustrated talks that painted a vivid picture of an extraordinary woman who achieved great advances in social welfare at a time when there was almost no state provision. Beatrice was born in 1827 into a philanthropic and religious family, and these principles guided her life. She founded the Dorcas Society, which is still going today, in 1864, to provide support to the families of people in prison or hospital, and set up hospitals and convalescent homes in Dunoon, Lenzie and Broomhill in Kirkintilloch in the 1870s. She lived in Moncrieff Avenue in Lenzie and attended St David's at Lenzie Union Churches. A devout Christian, Beatrice was a formidable organiser and fundraiser, involving the wives and daughters of her contacts in charitable causes, and was described as a leader of ladies. Beatrice died in 1888 and was buried in the Old Isle Cemetery. She was highly regarded in her time, and a large stone memorial with a bronze plaque inlay by a famous sculptor was erected over her grave. Sadly, the memorial was vandalised and the plaque stolen some years ago. The Soroptimists lead a campaign to have the memorial restored, and Eastern Bartonshire Council has recently agreed to do so in the spring. The Soroptimists have published a pamphlet with a walk describing locations relating to Beatrice and her fundraising activities. She was also described as the Queen of Bazaars, are described in an article in the current edition of Scottish Local History magazine. Broomhill Hospital closed in 1995 and has since been demolished and the site developed for housing as Beatrice Meadows, including Cogston Crescent. The meeting was dedicated to the memory of Susan Ross of the Antiquaries and Alice Mackenzie of the Sir Optimus, who both passed away in 2021. The Antiquaries are holding a special meeting as part of Local History Month on Wednesday, March the 23rd at 2 p.m. in the Park Centre, 45 Kerr Street, Kirkintilloch. Tommy Lawton of the Forth and Clyde Canal Society will give a talk on the Forth and Clyde Canal, past, present and future. Booking is required for this event. Please send an email with your name, contact details and number of people in your party to kdsantiquaries@gmail.com in advance of the meeting. Support for Malawi. Hundreds of thousands of people in Malawi who have been displaced by severe flooding as a result of Tropical Storm Anna are to receive financial support from the Scottish Government. The £400,000 will go to the British Red Cross as part of the Storm Anna emergency appeal to support the Malawi Red Cross. As well as meeting the immediate needs of families affected by the disaster, the organisation is supporting communities to rebuild their homes and livelihoods, as well as helping to improve resilience against future disasters. The region has been struck repeatedly by severe storms and cyclones in recent years, taking lives and destroying homes and crops. Financial support. Support has been expanded to improve the energy efficiency of homes and tackle energy costs. In response to the cost of living crisis, 3 key Scottish Government energy efficiency and heat programmes will be boosted from April. These include expanding the Home Energy Scotland HES advice service, widening the eligibility criteria of the Scottish Government's flagship Warmer Homes Scotland for Fuel Poverty programme, and increasing the level of funding individual fuel poor households could benefit from through the local authority-led area-based schemes. More than £160 million of funding is being invested this year to help make Scotland's homes and buildings warmer and more efficient, supporting efforts to tackle fuel poverty, while helping households to manage their heating and energy bills and reduce carbon emissions. Staycations. The delight of discovering a new corner of the UK appears to be high on the priority list for many of the UK's staycationers, which is expected to drive up the demand for short-term rentals as a preferred accommodation type. Plus, the majority of people are happy to welcome holidaymakers to their local areas. Mintel's report on domestic tourism found that 89% of the UK holidaymakers said they enjoyed discovering a new part of the UK during their holiday. And Mintel's report on family holidays revealed that 22% of family holidaymakers said they had discovered a new place in the UK for a holiday as a result of COVID-19. The same report found that 47% of family holidaymakers said that they would be interested in renting a cottage or villa for future trips, compared with 25% who have done so for the past 3 years, which could lead to a greater demand for short-term rental properties for the UK-based holidays. Mintel's domestic tourism report found that 72% of adults were happy for holidaymakers to stay in their locality. View from Holyrood. Local businesses show the way to go, by Rona Mackay, MSP. We are living through dark days indeed, as we strive to live with COVID-19, which, as we know, has not gone away, and are now witnessing the horror of the war in Ukraine. The heartbreaking scenes of families being torn apart, and mothers trying to protect children and elderly parents from bombs as they flee from their homes, is hard to comprehend. The man causing this misery, Vladimir Putin, appears to be holding the world to ransom with his indefensible aggressive actions. But, as we watch helplessly, once again community groups, churches, businesses and individual families through Eastern Bartonshire are doing us proud as they mobilise efforts to send supplies and humanitarian aid to the people of Ukraine. I am in awe of how quickly people are pitching in to help. We know that many families locally, indeed throughout Scotland, would welcome refugees into their homes, but immigration power is devolved to the UK government, and they simply must do more to cut the red tape. The Scottish Government will continue to press for this. It is incredible that, unlike EU countries, those bureaucratic barriers exist when people are so desperate. Locally, I have been enjoying visits in the constituency again. Last week, during the Scottish Apprenticeship Week, I visited Lullaby Lane Nursery to present a certificate to Chloe Winning, who recently completed her apprenticeship, SVQ, in Social Services, Children and Young People, SCQF Level 7, at the nursery. There are 16 modern apprentices in training with the company, who also have a facility in Mulgai. With a previous Modern Apprenticeship of the Year winner coming from the Bearsden site, Lullaby are nominated this year for SME Employer of the Year for the Scottish Apprenticeship Awards. 2 other employees are previous winners of the Apprenticeship of the Year award. A fantastic company with a wonderful ethos. My colleague Amy Callaghan MP and I had an interesting meeting with the drivers of the Kirkintilloch BID initiative, a process which would benefit retailers and residents in the town if adopted, just as the one in Mulgai has done. I will report on the progress of this, as I believe it would be fantastic if Kirkintilloch could become a successful BID town. And that was a view from Holyrood by Rona Mackay, MSP. And that was this week's district news from the Kirkintilloch Herald. From the Kirkintilloch Herald, dated Wednesday, the 16th of March 2022. From the letters page, let's talk. Decisions are in best interest of Scotland. Sir, Finlay Craig, last week's letters, believes that the First Minister is the most dangerous woman in the country. Does he think the same of every leader in the Commonwealth and in Europe? Is New Zealand's Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, dangerous because she's focusing on the country's child poverty, social inequality and housing crisis? The Republic of Ireland's Taoiseach, Michael Martin, has already made the decision to give shelter to several thousand Ukrainian refugees. As of today, the UK has granted 300 visas. No, Mr. Craig, these people are not dangerous. They are leaders, like the First Minister, making decisions in the best interest of their countries. Presumably he also thinks Westminster and Tory politicians should continue to be allowed to make dreadful economic decisions for Scotland, to drag us out of the single market, and to prevent hard-working Europeans from coming to fill essential jobs in the NHS. Scotland is an exporting powerhouse. In 2018 we exported goods worth £16.1 billion to the EU, but in the last year, exports to the EU have fallen by 14%, the highest fall in the UK, meaning, as was predicted, that Scotland would suffer badly from a hard Brexit. This means businesses in Scotland are suffering unnecessarily from Conservative policies, despite us voting overwhelmingly against them in every election in Scotland since 1955. Northern Ireland, with its special 100-year history, was allowed to stay in the EU. But all Scotland deserves in this union is to do as we are told, no matter how appalling the outcome. Surely Scotland should be like every other country in the world and be allowed to make its own decisions. Yours, etc., Chris Lofthouse, address supplied. Any help for OAPs on breadline? Sir, I read an article in last week's Herald that the government is helping families. But what about pensioners? There are OAPs living on the breadline, but we are not being offered help, considering that council tax and rents are going up, and some supermarkets have already been putting up prices. Yours, etc., Betty, Kirkintilloch. Misbegotten bunch will disappear. Sir, I hate nationalism with a vengeance, but I couldn't go as far as to agree with Finlay Craig suggesting that the SNP leader is the most dangerous woman in Britain, last week's letters. Although her supporters will claim she's a politician of some 30 years of experience, that experience seems to have resulted in her proficiency in only a single skill, the art of how not to answer a straight question. In my opinion, politicians like Nicola Sturgeon are simply too inept and inexperienced to be considered dangerous, and her shortcomings are continually mirrored by the performance of nationalists in both parliaments. So, Don't worry about the danger from the gnats. This misbegotten bunch will wither and disappear when we discover an opposition party with the principles and spine required to expose and discredit all the economic ignorance and shameless deception that are the bedrock of nationalist politics. They should not be tolerated in any self-respecting democracy. Yours, etc., Jim Parker, by email. If he wants to talk about a dismal government, sir, if Finlay Craig, in last week's letters, really wants to talk about a government which lacks the ability to govern effectively, he needs look no further than the current Westminster Tory government, because he will be really spoilt for choice on what he can mention, as there are just so many examples of incompetence and neglect from this Tory government. However, a small sample of what I am talking about will suffice to highlight its inability to effectively govern. It awarded a £13 million contract to a company to operate a ferry service, a company that had never operated ferries before, didn't have any ferries, far less any docking facilities for non-existent ferries. Then there's Brexit. So far, the government has yet to explain all those benefits we are supposedly enjoying as a result of having left the EU. How many businesses will close and jobs be lost during the combination of being out of the EU, the rise in national insurance, and the cost of living crisis? Yours, etc., Peter McCulloch, address supplied. Should you wish to get in touch with the Kirkintilloch Herald, email kirkyherald@gnscotland.co.uk. That's KIRKYHERALD@gnscotland.co.uk. And that was this week's letter from the Kirkintilloch Herald.
Planning notices. Civic Government (Scotland) Act 1982 application for renewal of second-hand vehicle dealer licence. The undernoted has applied for the renewal of a second-hand vehicle dealer licence in terms of the above Act. Name and address of applicant: Pendragon plc, T.A. Evans Halshaw Ford, Loxley House, 2 Oakwood Court, Little Oak Drive, Anniesley, Nottingham, NG15 0DR. Premises: Evans Halshaw, Kevin Valley Works, Kilsyth Road, Kirkintilloch, G66 1TA. Day-to-day manager: Gordon Naismith, 72 Earls Park Avenue, Glasgow, G43 2HE. Any objections or representations in terms of paragraph 3 brackets 1 of Schedule 1 of the Act should be logged with the undernote no later than 28 days from the publication date of the newspaper in which this advertisement appears, which is Wednesday the 16th of March 2022. Deputy Chief Executive, Education, People and Business, East Bartonshire Council, 12 Strathkelvin Place, Kirkintilloch, G66 1TJ. Planning applications. Format: application number, address/location, proposal, type of advert, period of reps. TP/ED 22/0115. The Lodge, 1A Bellevue Road, Kirkintilloch, East Bartonshire, G66 1AH. External alterations include removing roof hips and extending eaves. Dormer windows replaced. New external finishes to house. Section 65, affecting CA, 21 days. TP/ED/22/0127. 20 North Bank Road, Kirkintilloch, East Bartonshire, G66 1EU. Proposed demolition of garage, new single-storey extension to side and rear, and internal alterations. Section 65, affecting CA, 21 days. The application plans and other documents can be viewed online through the Council's website. The current restrictions on non-essential office work associated with the coronavirus pandemic means that plans cannot be viewed in the council offices as normal. Written comments may be made within the above period to the council through the council website, or to the above address. Any representations will be treated as public documents and made available for inspection by interested parties and may be published on the council's website. Here's on spot for another cup win. Amateur side Hearstains lifted their second trophy of the season after a nerve-wracking penalty shootout against Les Mahago last Friday night. The Burnree League Cup final between the two Hills Solicitor Central Scottish AFL Premier Division rivals at Hamilton AC's new Douglas Park Stadium finished 2-2 after extra time. But it was Hares, currently celebrating their 40th anniversary season, that prevailed from the penalty spot, winning 6-7 to add Burnree to the M&M Cup the Kirkintilloch club won in November, when they beat Uddingston Anvil 2-1 at the Falkirk Stadium. A crowd of 446 saw Hares twice come from behind in an entertaining final. The South Lanarkshire side led at the break after Cameron Ballantyne fired them in front in the 26th minute. However, it took Hares just 3 minutes of the second half to level through Jonathan Black. There was no further scoring in normal time, but 5 minutes into the additional half hour, Ross Miller put Les Mahago back in front. Once more, Hearstains responded, and Black was on target again 8 minutes later to restore parity before they took the trophy on the penalty decider. Manager Michael Oliver praised his players for their fighting spirit. He tweeted, quote, "Questions have been asked about this group in recent weeks, and they were answered last night. To come from behind twice in a cup final, and once in extra time, tells you all you need to know about their character." Maxwell hails Cup Tie Heroes, an article written by Ian McLean. Kirkintilloch Rob Roy boss Stuart Maxwell was full of praise this week for his young side after they stormed into the last four of the Scottish Junior Cup. Rob Roy are just one match away from their first Scottish final since 1977, after thumping Arthule 4-1 on Saturday's quarter-final at Kilsyth. Rabs, who last won the trophy 60 years ago, now face record winners Auchinleck Talbot in the semi-final at a neutral venue next month. With Guy Meadows unplayable, the tie was switched to Kilsyth Rangers Duncan's Field Park, and Rob Roy found the surroundings to their liking as Craig Truesdale fired in the first half-free kick to put them in front. Arthule skipper and former Rob Roy man Gary Carroll levelled before the break, but half-time switch by Maxwell wouldn't have worked out any better as substitute Michael Baber grabbed a second half hat-trick. The Rabs boss admitted he was concerned beforehand about how his young side would handle the occasion and was delighted at how they had responded. He said, quote, "That was my worry, what Rob Roy comes out. We've been in this movie a few times, in the quarter-finals, and not quite performed, with more experienced players and let ourselves down. Going in with a young, inexperienced side, we started really well, and Craig Truesdale scored a magnificent free kick, and we looked flowing and expansive going forward, and they couldn't cope with us. In the first 20 minutes, we should have been 3 up, but they made a slight tweak to their formation and scrapped their way back into the game, and for a 20-minute spell, they were the better side. But we kicked on again, and Michael Baber showed he can be a big game player with a brilliant hat-trick. For the inexperienced of our squad, we were terrific. In the end, I thought they got off lately at 4-1 with the chances we created. But at the end of the day, it's a cup tie. It doesn't matter if it's 1-0 or 10-0. It's about going through. and I was delighted for everyone connected with the club. We've obviously got the toughest draw, but at Rob Roy we don't do anything easy. Auchinleck will be overwhelming favourites, but they will be very wary of us, because we've already turned them over this year. Rallying call from Rab's boss. Rob Roy manager Stuart Maxwell has issued a renewed plea to the people in Kirkintilloch to show their support for efforts to bring the club back to the town. A rally will be held outside the town hall on Saturday as part of efforts to end an 8-year exile in Cumbernauld and move into the new Kirkintilloch sports complex being developed by East Bartonshire Council. Maxwell, expected to address the rally, is on record as warning that the club could fold if they don't get back to Kirkintilloch, and has already collected over 2,000 signatures on a petition to bring the club back home. He said, quote, "I'm asking for people to come out and support us, and believe in an institution that has been part of your town's history for 100 plus years. We've definitely raised awareness over the past few weeks since starting the petition, and have had a lot of engagement with MSPs who are telling us positive things, but for me it's easy to talk. We need to put that into action. You're only asking for people on Saturday morning to give half an hour of their time to come down. We're a big town, a big community, and to ask for a few hundred people to come out and support us is not a big ask. Come along, do your bit to give your support and enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and then go up the road knowing you've done your bit to save an institution which is part of your town's history." End quote. Supporters of the campaign are asked to meet outside the Regent Gardens Medical Centre at 11 AM. 8 minutes later, when he volleyed in a Craig McGregor cross. The match looked like it was heading for a penalty shootout decider, but that late goal earned Petershill victory and a place in the last 4. Petershill returned to WSFL Conference C duty on Saturday at Vale of Clyde, looking to extend their current club record run of 15 successful league wins. Rossvale. Rossvale are still battling to beat the drop from the WOSFL Premier Division, after twice coming behind for 2-1 wins. The victories at Petershill Park over Cumbernauld United last Wednesday and Hurlford United last Saturday moved Vale to within a point of safety, but the Bishopbriggs outfit have played substantially more games than all their regulation rivals. Del McNabb and Jordan Logan in the last minute got the goals against Cumbernauld, while McNabb and Dylan Young were on target against Hurlsford. Rossvale's next 2 games are also at home, against Rutherglen Cairn on Saturday and Darville next Wednesday, March 23rd.
Thank you for listening to this week's Kirkintilloch Herald podcast, brought to you by Q & Review Print Speaking to the Blind. If you've any feedback, you're welcome to call us on 0141 772 3976. If you enjoyed this recording, feel free to subscribe to our channel.